Hey everyone, my name is Andrew Davis, and you are watching Season 3 of Conversations in Pop Culture, brought to you by my sponsor, which is my Kickstarter. And we are currently funded at 76%. We are funding Season 3 of Conversations in Pop Culture, and you can get a live read, you can get a guaranteed guest spot, which means that you can be interviewed on my show, and you get to cut the line in front of everybody else who does not want to pay or didn't pay first. Also, you can get a really cool metal card by my friend DJ Croft, who me and him have collabed on. Very cool of him doing a gender bend on Laura Croft. And there's a variety of other things that you can get on that Kickstarter campaign. Again, we're 76% funded. It is going to fund. We have 18 days left. So obviously, if you're interested in hearing this, checking it out, it's up in the description up above. So please go look at it. And having said all that, I have with me cosplayer Stallicorn. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hi, everybody.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited because enough about my Kickstarter because I do want to talk about you and your cosplays, and there's a lot going on with you, and I'm sure we're going to be talking about a few of them. But I am curious how you got into cosplay because everybody has a unique story on how that occurred.
Yeah. So let's see. How did I get into cosplaying? This story is so long. Okay. So, it actually started with me getting into makeup. So I actually got into makeup when I was 12 years old. I was probably in like middle school, and I used to wear makeup a lot. And then as I got older, I started getting into like different kind of looks, like special effect looks and editorials, that kind of thing. I didn't used to post on Instagram that much until I did start seeing like the benefit of posting on Instagram. So that's when I started actually driving more on Instagram to like drive more traffic and attention with the makeup thing. But then like I've always watched anime, but I haven't done any cosplays for anime. So of course I wanted to incorporate my makeup look with a cosplay because at the time I was rewatching Inuyasha. So so I'm like, okay, let me try to make myself be Sesshomaru. So it was probably like 2019. I just got like some purple eyeshadow, put it on my cheek, drew the moon on my face, and got like a white wig or a silver wig. I kind of edited that too, and then like just put that whole look together. A closet cosplay at that. Put it together, and I basically wanted to like show my appreciation for the character. So I didn't even know it was really called cosplaying back then. So I started from that, and then after that I just kept going. Like I just kept going, but I did like jump in and out from special effects to appreciation for like anime characters and stuff like that. But when I really got consistent was October of last year. And that's when I just started just posting, just cosplaying every day, uploading all my cosplays like every single day. Like every day, every chance I got, like I really just went and just like threw on some clothes because like most of my cosplays are closet cosplays. So I just threw on some clothes, bought a bunch of wigs, and I was just like, yeah, let me just start dropping content left and right, left and right. So that's basically how I got into it. It's just like a journey from starting from like makeup, going into wigs, going into makeup and wigs, and then going into anime and cosplay. It's like a whole journey.
So we're going to talk a lot about all of that, and I do want to really dive into some inside baseball because obviously you've done a bunch of different things with cosplay and makeup, and I promise we're going to touch upon all of that. But I am curious, where do your ideas come from for a lot of your cosplays? Because you've done not just anime, but you've done some Disney, obviously Nickelodeon, and a few other areas. And so, where does your ideas come from, and even the inspiration and some of the creativity? Because you cross a lot of borders with that. And where does that all start on what you choose to cosplay, and even how ideas come to you? Because ideas come to me in very odd ways sometimes at 4 in the morning. And I don't know how many people have those, but I have a book next to me that it's 4 in the morning. I really don't know what I'm writing or what I'm seeing, but apparently then I go back to bed. And so obviously everybody has that type of moment. So I'm curious about yours with cosplays and how all that stuff happens.
Okay. Honestly, Like I feel like a lot of people have those moments. Like a lot of creatives have those moments where they're like up in the morning or up at night, just randomly waking up out of sleep just so that they can write down ideas. Because of course, if you don't write it down, you're gonna forget it. But for me, a lot of my inspiration comes from Instagram and the clothes that I already have in my closet. So I do have like a couple cosplay friends that like internet friends that I've met via cons and like via Instagram and via TikTok that I kind of like get a little bit of my ideas from. I do see that some of like the clothes in my closet also, they have like different, like they have like the colors and like the styles of the characters. Like this one for an example, like the Trixie Tang, purple shirt, white skirt, like easy, just knock it out, that kind of thing. So a lot of it does come from my closet. um and then a lot of it do come, like I get inspired by other people. I do the same thing that you do, wake up in the middle of the night when I'm like super anxious for no reason, and I start writing things down because I have a second phone. So I start writing things down in my other phone, and I have like a whole list of cosplays that I want to do. If I don't have the pieces, I literally have like next to it, like I gotta get this for that cosplay, I have to get this for that cosplay, I have to buy this whole cosplay. I have like written down in my notes, like I could just use this shirt that's in my closet or these tights that's in my closet for this cosplay. And then of course if I don't have it, or like if I have like certain strips of like cloth in my house that I'm not using, I would literally like rip it up and try to make it into what I need it to be.
And so to even go further into this, because a lot of what you do is quote unquote closet cosplay. And for those who don't know, that means you take what you have in your closet or that's lying around and you put something together. And some people view it, and correct me if I'm wrong, some people will go wear a closet cosplay out to a con, and that's what you're doing. And some people just say, hey, look, I'm cosplaying at home and this is meant to be an Instagram thing and see what I could do, and sort of almost a challenge to some degree. And obviously, I think that's what really it goes to. But a lot of what you do is that, and even just building out, and it is really a skill, I think, to be able to go and say, hey, I'm going to go build a cosplay with what I have in my house and not really add too much into it. And so, what is that like for you in finding materials and substituting materials? And I would say balancing the costs of materials as cosplay can get very expensive. But I have a feeling I know some of the answers, especially if you're taking what you have in your house and you're building it. It might be a little bit cheaper, but I still think to some degree, what is that like for you finding, the right thing to use and then even substituting when you need to pick something up because, you know, materials go out of stock. Some materials are actually better than others. And also, materials get really expensive where a top end fabric to some degree can be very pricey per yard or even a small piece of it. Or, I think what is it, Warbler, and then there's a few others, that stuff can add up very, very quickly as well. And so what is that like for you balancing all that stuff out?
So for me, it's whew, usually I would have to get like little things. Like if I don't have a headband, I would have to buy like a pack of headbands for a cosplay. For the most part, I'm really like good with editing pictures. So say if like I don't have a top that's like a certain color, or if I don't have that exact top but I have a black shirt, I would actually just take the black shirt and then try to like edit it into a way where it can look like the character zone. And that's really just like going into apps like Photoshop and Pixar and just like doing it that way. um Other things that I would do because of like the cost and everything, because it does get expensive, you don't want to have to buy like a whole outfit or anything like that. Since I did used to dabble in YouTube with like reviewing wigs and stuff, those get expensive. What I would do is just take my old wigs, and if I needed it to be in a certain style, I would just style it up in that way instead of having to buy a separate wig that looks exactly like that, because that's another like $40 to $100 that I would have to spend just to take this picture one time, which is ridiculous. I honestly think that whatever like materials you have at home, try to utilize them like to the best of your ability. Like don't try to go broke just to like, you know, just to like build yourself. Actually use your materials, use everything. Plus I do build my costumes at that. Like for my Bakugo costume, I built the gauntlets. So of course I have leftover foam. If I need the foam for anything else, I would just use the leftover foam to like make a headband, to make goggles, to make shoes, to make a belt, that kind of thing. Or even like if I have paint left over and I needed to paint something, I would use that paint on that item just so that I can have it for that cosplay. So always recycle and reuse. I never like try to go over the budget of like spending like $50 on like over $50 on a cosplay. Yeah. Like I
See,
started in
what's funny
Sydney.
about this is that I speak to a lot of people, and obviously I've had Cap Santiago on, who was Nova on the Marvel covers. I've had Eddie Newsom on, who was, I think, Falcon on those covers. And obviously, not saying my friend Cap, spends a lot of money on his cosplays, but I know people who really spend a lot of money building things out and drop a lot of money. And there's nothing wrong with that. I know people who have built like real serious Mandalorian merc stuff. And I mean, believe me, it's impressive to me. And I'm super thrilled and impressed. And there's a reason why those people have been on my show. But I know people who also say, hey, this is my hobby and this is what I thoroughly enjoy doing. And I want to have the best of the best. But I also think that there's a real big myth that you have to spend a lot of money to be a cosplayer, to have a good time, to enjoy this. And so what is that like for you when you're limiting yourself saying, hey, 50, 60, 70 bucks at the most on a cosplay and working with what I have, because it does break that myth in a lot of ways.
It does. So it does break that myth. Like honestly, like if you're trying to build at, so say if you're like a micro or a nano influencer and you're trying to build, of course, like I said, you don't want to break bank. So of course you want to utilize everything that you have. Um, if you have the money to do that, of course, yes, do it. That way you can have the best of the best. But a lot of like the reason like people cosplay is because of they want to express their creativity. They want to express their love for it. They don't want to just have to spend money all the time just to say like this is my creative outlet. Of course, we want to reuse everything. Um as for like the people who like spend money to like spend a lot of money to like build their things or whatever, like it's fine. That's like it's no problem with that. Like I spent like $200 to make my gauntlet, so it's fine. But that was because I knew that I was going to be wearing it repeatedly. I knew that it was going to come out to be like a really great project. Like I want the money that I'm spending, the money that I'm investing into it, I want it to be useful. I don't want to just wear it like one time and then like that's it, you know? But for me, that's really how it is. I just spend like the least amount. Limit, like I said, my limit is probably like $50 on it. And then like of course, like if I need something else, then I would go again and spend another set of money. So like max, I would say it's probably like 100 max. 50 to 100 max. Unless it's like a cosplay that like you can't make out of your closet. Like let's just say um like the gauntlets, the Bakugo gauntlets. You can't make those out of your closet. So of course you would have to spend money to make the gauntlets or spend money to actually get the gauntlets. That kind of thing. Other than that, if you're trying to grow, I honestly think like you shouldn't spend too much just to grow.
It's a very interesting discussion. I was on somebody's show and we were speaking after about podcasting, and I'm not using a headset. I am using my MacBook. I'm using my camera, and my most expensive equipment with my podcast right now is StreamYard. So it's software that essentially is billed every month or every year, depending on how you set it up. And it's the most expensive thing, and it's $240. But divide that by 12, you're looking at $20 a month. And
Mm.
so I think a lot of people don't understand that, a lot of what I do is I could have the greatest mic, I could have the greatest lighting, I could have the greatest whatever, I could have a green screen behind me, I could have a soundproof studio, but if the skill's not there, it's not going to shine through. And then also, how much is a green screen going to add to my bottom line versus me saving money? Because it's not a one for one exchange. It's more like
Right.
a 1.8 exchange, where if I'm saving myself, you know, $600 every year, it's more like me saving myself 1,400. And that's something that I think people don't understand is that if you're growing, you don't really need to go and necessarily have the best thing in the world or have the best
Mhm.
of the best when you're still developing your skill set in cosplay.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
obviously, I do want to talk about wigs because that's your thing in a lot of ways. And so this is something that I know nothing about. I'm extremely ignorant on it. Obviously, I have hella good hair, and I'm just gonna go shake it off. Um, but what was that like? Because you've reviewed expensive wigs, cheap wigs, you've styled wigs. I looked at your YouTube extensively. You know, I didn't watch everything on your YouTube, but I
Yeah.
went through it. There's a lot of stuff there, guys. I mean, it's a good place to start. Is all I'm going to say on that point. But what is that like for you? Because you do have a lot of information, and you've gone through a lot of different things on that, and so what is that like and figuring out how to style it because it is an art to
Mhm.
style a wig, it's an art to dye a wig, it's an art to take care of your wig, it's an art to do whatever else you want with a wig, it's an art to throw away wig and send it off on a Viking funeral. um, hey, you know, as if your friends have a pool, you know, I'm just saying, you know, you just set it on fire, you send it to the middle of the pool, and then you just get a violin and you start playing. But anyway, what was that like, really sort of figuring out how to do all that and also teaching it and reviewing it and really getting into it? Because it is something that is different and it is a real skill in cosplay, much like
Yeah.
prop building.
Yeah. So, as for wigs, whew, trying to actually put on a wig, depending on like if the wig is like a lace front or if it's just like a bang like this, there's so many different steps to take in order to actually like perfect it and to make it look good. How it was for me, it took me so long to learn, like so long. I watched so much YouTube videos, so much Instagram reels, so much IGTVs. I watched so much. To be honest, all the watching and doing and learning, I'm still not perfect to where I want to be in wearing wigs, but I'm pretty decent. So, you know, I can get away with a couple things. But as for like the reviewing process of it was pretty fun. I did have like a steady, what's it called? Like a steady pace of like getting wigs, reviewing wigs, that kind of thing. It does get expensive to actually buy them, but it does save you a lot of money when you get sponsored and people send you wigs too. So that's something. But being an influencer who reviews wigs too, it becomes fun. You get to style it in a way that you want it, style it in a way that you've never seen it before. You will have some hiccups where you're like messing up the wig or you cut the lace too short, that kind of thing. And to be honest, learning all of that and putting it into my cosplays, like it's really a great skill to have. Like you, especially because like there's different characters that have different hairstyles. So of course you wouldn't want to have the same hairstyle for every character and then it doesn't look good or it just doesn't fit, that kind of thing. So I'm actually grateful that I learned how to do it, and I think like everybody who wants to cosplay should do it, like at least get a little skill on how to do it. But it will take some time.
Yeah, I know nothing about it, and I'm not a cosplayer. I cosplayed like 2 times, and it is not for me. And I am not about to learn how to do any of that because, you know, it's something that I'm probably going to mess up, and it will probably cost me like 10 grand to actually learn that skill, which is horrific. And I'm being very generous when I say that about myself. I have no problem admitting where I fail. I have no problem being very open about it, and that's all we're going to talk about with that. But I do think it is very interesting what you've done with that, and obviously going through that and showing what you know, and even just reviewing, because obviously it provides information. And I've reviewed things on YouTube, and it is very helpful, I think, that, you know, when somebody who actually is looking at the product and is not being paid by the company is actually giving a review on it and showing the good and bad and the ugly of it all. So I think it's very important in that realm. And then the other thing I want to talk about before we really dive into your cosplays is some of the makeup stuff you've done, because this is also very interesting. And you mentioned that that's sort of how you got into it, but you've done stuff sort of with, spider eye, I guess is the way it is, and then painting a mountain thing on your face. And there's a variety of other things that you've done. And so, what was that like doing that stuff? Because that stuff sort of came first, and really figuring out how to do that and playing around with that, and then also really just getting, I guess, artistically creative with all that. The Arizona can is another one. I think it's freaky. I think it's just freaky. It's not a. I recommend everybody go to her Instagram right now because I think it's freaky and it won't take you long to find it. I promise. So what was that like? Really mastering that skill because I do think it does help your cosplay skills in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it does. So learning, so I would say like the mountain one on my face, that's probably one of my favorite looks. Learning to do everything, it took a while for that too. Like you do have to have an artistic hand for that. I actually know how to draw, so that helped me um with everything.
That's
I did
ironic.
take
I know how to draw it too. I drew something the other day,
yeah.
Monday. That's what I drew.
It looks good though, it just needs some
Hey,
color.
hey, you get to 40, I'm going to redraw this and send it to somebody on my Kickstarter, everybody. So if you haven't backed my Kickstarter and you're watching, you could throw in $1 and you're eligible because I'm raffling it off. It's in the description up above. So I will redraw this. It will be a little bit cleaner. I might add some more things into it. And if I become famous, I'll sign it and you'll have my first original piece.
First
One of
piece.
my first original pieces and I might even include the mock-up as well on it. So back to Kickstarter, guys. $1 or 500. It's one entry, and as long as we get to 40, we're at 26. 18 days left, guys. So back to Kickstarter, and you get this and redrawing of this, and it'll be really fun. But anyway, continue. Continue.
So what was I saying? So yeah, so basically like with the things that I used to do, you do have to have an artistic hand. You have to have an artistic hand, a visual. And if you don't have a visual, then you can just stop and try to draw it out first and then try to do it on your face. I used to just start painting, putting on makeup, and just like going as my hand would move. I did, like I said, I got a lot of my inspiration from Instagram. So I would see things and I would be like, oh my God, I want to incorporate that. And then I would draw it on my face, that kind of thing. However, doing that way or like doing painting on your body, your face, anything like that, like any look that I've ever done took about 6 hours. 6 hours, anywhere from like 3 to 6 hours. So if I would say if anybody's trying to do that, just take in mind that it will take forever. As for like the can stuff that I did, the can on my face, like if it was gouging out of my eye, that is more or less, it doesn't take too much of an artistic hand to do. All you really need to do is like watch a YouTube video, get the materials, and then just start doing what you need to do. Like you can trace the can on you, put the latex on, and then like you're fine. Just make sure that it looks realistic, because with special effects, it's not about making it look perfect, it's about making it look realistic. So even if it's not perfect, it can still look realistic. But if it doesn't look realistic, then that's probably a problem.
Yeah, you've done a lot of stuff in that realm, and obviously the reason why I bring up this makeup stuff is that it obviously has translated over into cosplay very, very efficiently for you. And one of the things that it has translated over into is really starting with, and I'm doing it slightly out of order, but with the Naruto stuff that you've done. And obviously you did a Naruto makeup that was extremely makeup heavy and that was one of them, and that was of Naruto, and sort of, I guess, a slight gender bend Naruto. And so, what was that one like for you? Because you've done another three that were slightly different, and then very interesting that I definitely want to talk about because the other three, but I definitely want to focus on that first Naruto makeup one that you've done because that's sort of the hybrid. I feel like the crossing over and dipping the toe into the cosplay world for you a little bit.
Yeah, so the Naruto one, that one I would say is like the easiest one I've ever done. So yeah, I basically just took some eyeliner and just painted 3 lines on my face. Um, that was when I was getting into like Photoshop. Not really Photoshop, but like editing my pictures because I'm not really too much of a contact wearer. So I did wanted to like edit my eyes to the point where it looked like I was wearing contacts. So I did find the eyes and I edited that one to myself also. So yeah, you're pretty much right. Like that was like the
It was
breakthrough
the
into
hybrid.
yeah,
You're like
like
half
into
in,
it.
half out. Like,
Yup.
oh, it's like
Yep. Yep. So you're right about that. I basically used like everything that I've learned into that one picture and just to bring it together. Like I said, three whiskers with the eyeliner. I edited my eyes. I did my eyeshadow in orange and I had on a wig. And the sweater that I had on was actually a sweater from Victoria's Secret's pink. So it wasn't even like it was an actual Naruto jacket. It was actually a sweater that I had bought from Victoria's Secret to use for that cosplay.
and then going further into the realm of Naruto, and this is what I thought was very interesting because this is straight out of Sports Illustrated, if you will, is that you've done Ino, Hinata, and Sakura, very much a body paint version of them, and obviously I don't think this was going to be worn at a con, but what was this like? Because now you're painting the cosplay onto yourself, and that's a whole different ball game in a lot of ways because you need to have safe body paint to some degree. You also need to know how to draw on a mirror to some degree, and you need to know where things are supposed to go because when you have clothes, you can sort of figure out how they're supposed to be worn. But when you're drawing something on you, there's a lot more liberty to do things, and you got to place the buttons, and you're almost creating everything on your body. And so, what was this like really building out these three? Because I'm assuming parts of them were similar to create, but other parts were also very different.
Mm-hmm.
And like the Hinata does not look like it's drawn on. The Inu looks like it's drawn on, and the Sakura looks like it's half and half. And so it's very interesting when you actually see this. And then there's a lot of TikTok stuff that also is surrounding this.
Yeah. So okay, so we can talk about TikTok and everything. So when I was actually doing those cosplays, I didn't have like I said, I didn't want to spend money on actually getting the cosplays themselves. So because I wanted to save my money at that point. So I got inspired from TikTok from this girl. Her Instagram and TikTok is called EventSioXO, I think, something like that. And there was another there was another creator on there who actually did like the Hinata, Sakura, like baddies of the hidden leaf kind of thing. So he was just voicing them out. And like I really wanted to do those voices on those TikToks. So I didn't get a chance to, but I did wanted to like paint my body. So of course I got inspired by her and I found like popular sounds and everything and I just started like painting myself and like timing it to the point where it looks entertaining on the TikTok also. So of course, how it worked for me, yes, I had to like look in the mirror, take my black eyebrow pencil and draw on myself first. I basically like drew the outline. I had the paint that I used was like Maron paint. That's an expensive paint, but of course it lasts long. So I drew that on myself and then of course um I had to wait for it all to dry, that kind of thing. So getting into all of that was mainly because I didn't want to spend money. But and I knew I was just going to wear it one time. However, like I didn't get to do the other TikToks from the baddies of the hidden leaf thing, but I did do the other sounds on there. Um the Sakura and Hinata one. So also around that time too, I did get contacts from a companies and they wanted me to try them out. So I'm like, okay, cool. I could try them out on those and do a Hinata cosplay. So this would be a great opportunity for me to do that. That's what brought in the Hinata cosplay, Sakura cosplay, and Ino cosplay. All three of those I got wigs from when I was doing YouTube, reviewing the wigs on YouTube, and the Hinata cosplay, I actually wore that sweater. Like that's a sweater from my closet. So of course, Closet cosplay mixed in with painting and makeup and all of that, and wigs.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here. And
Yeah.
what was the response to all this? Because obviously, I mean, as I sort of said, it's different. It's something that I think, people are like, oh man, this is a different interpretation of these cosplays. It also is sort of, a little bit Sports Illustrated and what they do with paint on the body, and body painting is a very interesting thing, and really going down that. And also, it is Naruto and it's untraditional because this is sort of pushing the line of what cosplay can be and playing around with cosplay and all that stuff. And at this stage in the game, I don't know how you feel, but I'm looking for things that are different in a lot of ways and just what I'm reading. I'm a big comic book guy. I'm a big anime guy, even with wrestling. I'm looking for companies that are different and doing different storylines and different wrestlers. And so obviously I'm naturally drawn because everything's been done before the same way. And so what was that like providing something new and giving a new interpretation, because that obviously gets attention and says, oh man, this is interesting. I want to know more about who this cosplayer is, for instance.
Yeah. So being like, okay, so for one, being a new cosplayer is already enough, right? Because you're a new face, a new name, and like nobody knows you. So of course you want to get into the game of doing something different. What it was like for me doing like the body paint, it was different, way different, and it did get a lot of attention, especially on TikTok. Like my TikTok is Stallicorn. If anybody wants to see them, I have them pinned. But but it did get a lot of attention on TikTok. It got a lot of positive and negative attention because people were like, "Oh, this is body paint. This is not cosplay." And everybody's like, "This is a great cosplay. You painted it on and it looks so real." So it gets a lot of attention because it's different. And even with wearing clothes, like wearing clothes from your closet or actually buying the actual cosplay too, if you style it up in a different way or even change your hair to be in a certain style or even a different color or even like anything like that, like it basically brings attention to your cosplay because it's not done exactly the same way as the character.
Yeah, and I think it's just very interesting. And obviously, I'm scrolling through your Instagram, and obviously that's what drew me partially to you. Also, the Fairly Odd thing, which we're going to talk about. And so, obviously, I just am looking for different. I think a lot of people are in that fashion. And then even going further into Naruto, because obviously these four are very similar. You've done a traditional Toby, and you've done a traditional Hedon, which I have to release that interview with Chris Hedgerly, who plays Hedon. And Chris Hedgerly is a great, great voice actor. And so, what was this like getting to also do traditional cosplays and not just being, the person who's doing body paint and a one trick pony, but able to show, hey, I can do a traditional cosplay just the same way and go mainstream as much as go alternative and go different and push the lines to some degree. So, what was it like really getting to do those two cosplays?
So doing those two, well, Toby was super easy. I didn't even have to put on makeup. All I didn't even have to like change clothes or anything. All I had to do was just put on my cloak and put on the mask and just take the picture. I did do a video with him like disappearing. That was a challenge for me because I had to swing my arm like many times so that it looked like I was disappearing. But I would say Toby, like doing Toby was really like easy and really fun. I didn't like need to do much, but doing Hedon on the other hand, it was really fun. But the white paint gets so messy because it's clown white. So it gets so messy and it gets everywhere. So like I had to basically like every time like I wanted to move, I had to like put like a paper towel to try to like not get it on the cloak, even though it still got on the cloak. But that one was really fun. And like sometimes like even with the white paint also it would get onto like a brush or like pick up like different particles and stuff, so I would have to like repaint over the white part just so that it would look like pure white instead of looking like blue or red and mixed inside with it. But doing just the traditional ones and actually looking like the character, for those ones I felt like it was well needed because like they're interesting characters. Toby has a mask, of course. to hide his identity. And like you can't really change that up too much. Of course, if you wanted to paint it on, you would actually see like the dents and the outwards of your nose and your lips and stuff. But I feel like the mask really like brings the character together because it's like hiding something behind there. And with Hedon, it just makes sense to just do the black and white because of course like that's the character we know. That's the face that we know. If I just went up with my regular face and silver hair and I was like, I'm Hedon, people would be like, oh, okay. But the black and white, they would be like, Hedon, that's who you're playing. So I feel like it makes sense to actually bring that attention to the cosplay so that people are able to say, like, that is who she's cosplaying.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, one of the things about Hidan and Toby and Inu, Sakura, Hinata, and Naruto is that they are well-known characters, and so it also is very helpful, I think. And I think with Naruto, there's a lot more leniency now because it's been around for a while. That there's interpretations, it's been mashed up. There's been a bunch of different hybrid Narutos out there. I mean, if you've ever seen Mecha Naruto, that thing is awesome.
Mecha so.
So think about that one for a few minutes, everybody. It's almost like Mecha's, Spider-Man. It's awesome. A friend of mine just showed me that. I'm like, how did I not know that existed?
Right.
Right? Like it's like almost like Samurai Spider-Man, but Samurai Spider-Man is awesome too.
That's
But
cool.
I digress right there. But I think there's a lot of leniency, and even going further into maybe something that is not so lenient, but it's just similar to Naruto and is becoming, I guess, the next Naruto. Talk about My Hero Academia, because I like My Hero. A bunch of people who have been on my other show voice My Hero: Rob McCollum, David Matranga, who plays Totodokuri. And so obviously you've done Totodokuri, you've done Dabi or Dabby, you've done, obviously your Bakugo, but we're going to talk about your Bakugo because that I think is a very special cosplay. But what was this like really playing Totodokuri and Dabi, because you edited both of those and they are makeup centric, I guess is a good word to use, and really building those two out first because, those are really closet cosplays in a lot of ways.
Yeah, so for Todoroki and well, for Todoroki, well, let me start with Dabi. So with Dabi, actually Dabi's like one of my favorite characters in the show. Cosplaying him was like really cool because of course I had to, that's what I was doing, like the special effects stuff. So I took some liquid latex and like put it on my skin, and then I put toilet paper on top of that and then painted it so that it looks like real burned skin instead of actually just painting it on, because I felt like it wouldn't have been realistic enough if I just painted it on. It would have just been purple paint with like black lines, and I felt like it wasn't going to be like too like realistic enough. So definitely I needed to actually make it look like I was a Dobby. I actually plan on doing that one over again because I love messing with like liquid latex and putting the toilet paper and stuff on me. It gets messy, but I love it so much. um it was really fun doing that one. And then with the Todoroki one, because I had to do the burn mark around my eye, I did the same thing with the liquid latex. However, I didn't put it like all the way on my eye because the simple fact that it is liquid latex, I don't want to like peel off my eyebrow or peel off my eyelash. Next, I don't have any eyelashes or eyebrows anymore. So that one was really fun. And for the fact that they're both like fire users, I definitely needed those pictures to be edited to show just some skill in the fire and like in the background and everything, because that's their quirk, that's their power, and it needed to be shown there. As for my Bakugo one,
Yeah,
the
let's look at your
gauntlets.
Bakugo because he's also
Yeah.
an explosive, fiery type of guy.
Right.
And obviously, he is a very liked character. And this is one of the ones that you really built out. And one of the ones that I think, obviously you built out the gauntlet and the hair, and you took also a different approach to his hair. And I think you didn't, it's not a full gender bender of Bakugo, but it's got some elements of it, and there's some creative freedom in it. And I think that adds to it in a lot of ways. And so what was that like really building out this character and this? Because we all know it's Bakugo. It's hard to miss it.
Right. So Bakugo is my number one favorite character of the whole show. So of course, I feel like if I needed to represent him, I needed to go all out. Like I need to wear him as often as I can, like wear his cosplay as often as I can, and like keep something like memorable just for it because he is my favorite character of the show. So building the gauntlets, I started late when I was doing it for Halloween, but I did it within a month, and that was the most strenuous month I have ever endured trying to build something. Like it was just so much because one, that was my first time doing it, and it was like I was just doing it blindly. I had a layout and everything, and like I had a blueprint, but it was like I was still blind. But building his gauntlets, like it really took, like I took my time on it. I did everything I needed to do. I got all the materials that I needed to get. It was just putting my heart into it and just like just doing it at that point. And that's why like I keep like my gauntlets like so close to me because I took my time on it. And like that's why I love that character too because like you can't miss him. Like he got two big grenades on his arms. Like he got two big grenades on his arms. His personality is just so fire and so like out there. And then it's just like he's just like a character that you would always see. Like no matter what, you would always see him. You can't miss him. Of course, my personality isn't like his, but that's what make me like him so much.
So what was it like really building out those gauntlets? Because that is a very distinguishing factor of Bakugo and everything. And obviously building it out both in concept and even with, I guess I'm trying to think of the word here, the idea of it not being too heavy, being comfortable, actually being con friendly to you and to the con, if that makes any sense, where, because I've seen it and you've seen it where people can't sit down at a con. And,
Yeah.
you know, remember everybody, you have to carry what you bring to a con. And so, and sometimes the con's in a hotel, and that's great because your room's not that far away. But if
Mm-hmm.
you're going to, the Javits Center, the hotel, the closest hotel is like a half a block away to 3 blocks away. And what was that like factoring all that in and also making it so that it actually is accessible and carryable? I can't think of
So
another word.
yeah, right. So okay, so making it, I made it out of foam, like basically like the kind of foam that you would see in like gyms, like the gym mats. I made it out of those so that it would be light enough for me to carry. Um, so making it being like transported, like it's just one big gauntlet with the metal thing on top. I just slip them on and slip them off so that like why is he calling me? Did I? Okay. Yeah, sorry. Somebody called me. Like they know I'm here. But okay,
Maybe they
so
want to be in on it. I
basically,
don't know.
what's it called? So yeah, I just like slip them on and slip them off so that it's like kind of easy to carry. Being that it's made out of foam, it's so light, so I can just like move my arms freely. The only thing is when I'm walking, like I have to walk with my arms kind of like this because they're so big. Because they're so big. As for like trying to like use my phone or even like use the bathroom or like fix my hair, I have to literally take off one gauntlet just to actually use my phone and just send a text message or even answer a call. But the good thing I like about them, because of how they're made, I can carry things inside the gauntlet. So like if I needed a mask, I can literally just reach inside my gauntlet and take out my mask and wear my mask. My phone, I can put my phone inside my gauntlet and just have it there. Like it doesn't even, you wouldn't even know it's there. Like I can tell you I've lost a couple things in my gauntlet. Like like so making it accessible and like transportable is like it wasn't hard. But I would advise, like for next time, I would actually try to make the silver part on top come off so that I can actually store it better, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes complete sense. And
Oh,
this is
wait,
something
can you hear
that,
me? I don't know. I can't hear you.
can you
Can you
hear
hear
me?
me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you. Wait, if I leave and come back, will it work?
Yeah, it should,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Okay. Hold on. I'm coming back.
Anything could happen live.
Okay.
So anything could happen live is what I was saying.
Okay. Good. I can hear you.
And so I was actually going to ask is that obviously My Hero is very popular, and I'm about to break a cardinal rule here. I did not see season 5 yet. I know. I've been busy. I took 3 months off from watching anime. I was
Oh
on
my
a wrestling
God.
kick. I was watching so much wrestling that like legitimately every night I was watching wrestling. It was great. And now I'm getting back into anime, and now I'm tabling wrestling. Um, but you know I go on cycles, guys. But anyhow, how was this received? Because I know that it was at a few cons, and I think it was at Anime NYC. And how was this received? Because My Hero is bigger than ever. It's one of the most popular anime shows next to Attack on Titan, and I think it's a big debate between those two. And there's a few others that are in the contending of being the biggest show right now. But what was that like? Because obviously there's a lot of different versions of Bakugo, and people love My Hero. So what was that like, and how was it received, and what was it like for you? Because obviously people probably gave you some praise for, it, especially at Anime NYC, because that's a big con that people thoroughly enjoy cosplaying,
Yeah.
especially
Yes.
given the fact that
Yep.
it wasn't a con for like 2 years, pretty much.
Yeah. Yep. So how it was received, like as soon as I walked in, it was just, can I get a picture? Can I get a picture? Like everybody just saw the gauntlets. Like they just instantly knew who I was because of the gauntlets. Like it just got, the gauntlets got so much attention. Like it's like I didn't even have to like go all out for like the costume. It was like I could have just worn regular clothes and just bring the gauntlets and people would know like exactly who I am. A lot of people were curious about like what they were made out of, and like how did I make it? How much time did I make them in? That kind of thing. A lot of people were curious about the cost, if they were heavy. Some people even wanted to feel it. Some people thought it was metal, which if it was metal, I was not carrying those. But everybody were, I could say everybody were curious about them, just looking at them because they look so real. Because I did like some damage to them to make it look like they've been in war. So it was a lot. It definitely got a lot of attention. I took so much pictures. That's how come I never got to buy anything at Anime NYC or at the Brooklyn Cos, what was it? Brooklyn Comic Con. So it definitely got like a lot of attention.
Yeah, and obviously My Hero is My Hero, and people love My Hero. And you've done a few others, and the one I want to talk about next is that you're Hatsumi. Hatsum, I want to say it, or me.
Hatsume. Mei
Hatsume.
Hatsume. Yeah, there we go.
It's been a long day, and it's been a while since I've seen My Hero. And obviously, what was this like? Because this was another one of those sort of cosplays, closet cosplays. Did a Shigaraki as well that
Hmm.
required editing, and then also, the Bunny Hero, Miroku Romi, and I'm not going to say her last name correctly. I've given up, but all those were very much, closet cosplays. So, what was that like? Really doing these three and getting to just have some fun with it.
So Hatsume, I did that one was so I was okay. I was taking my time on that one for some reason because I don't know why. I just thought like I wasn't going to get it together, but it was easy. Like it was super easy. All I needed was a black wife beater, literally some black sweats and a black sweatshirt, and just tied it around my waist. And I had black gloves already. Like I had all of those things in my closet. Except for the black sweater. The black sweater was actually my boyfriend's sweater. So while he was here, I took his sweater and just wrapped it around my waist. The goggles I had bought, but like I said, they were like $7. So that wasn't even like breaking the bank. And just taking the picture, I take pictures with my Canon, so just taking the picture was like easy, and I didn't even have to do anything like extra. The most I would say I've spent in that cosplay was, like I said, $7. I already had the pink wig, so that was one thing. And her hair wasn't exactly like how it is in the anime, but because it was pink and I had like, I brought it a little bit lower down so that it can be like on my shoulders, I was able to actually pull off the look. For the Shigaraki one, that one I had, what did I do? I had a black shirt, a black long sleeve shirt. I actually think I borrowed that shirt from my brother and just like never gave it back. I probably forgot. But I had a black long sleeve shirt, and there wasn't much makeup or editing. Oh well, not editing, but there wasn't much makeup that I had to do for his look. I just had to make my skin look really dry, like if I had like really bad eczema, and like had to make my lips look cracked, that kind of thing. So that actually took a lot of like like visual creativity, just so that I can get it to be get it to look a certain way. His hair, he had like a bang in the anime, but I did a middle part so that it takes like a different adaptation, so that I'm like more or less like a girl Shigaraki. But the hair was blue anyway, so that's fine. And then as for the editing, that took me hours to do. Hours. I want to do it again though, but it took me hours. I literally had my hand on my shoulder like this. Or like I had it like this, like I had it on the side like that, and like I was just taking them in like different positions just to see which hand or like which picture of my hand would actually look the best. And I just used that one picture, edited it, painted it white and everything. Took Shigaraki's actual like orange band for the hands, put it on the bottom of my hand, and then like I just made that into one picture to put all over my shoulders and my face. So that took so long, so long to do. It was so fun because that was actually like testing myself, but it took super long. And as for the miracle one is actually not a closet cosplay. So that one I actually bought, but it was $45.
So let's talk about that because one of the things is that I'm a big proponent, and I hate the word professional cosplayer. That word to me is extremely toxic, and it's not toxic in the sense of toxicity and as people think it is. I think that it creates a real division between people who want to cosplay and have a good time and people who are making money with cosplay, and it creates a separation between what I think people and their expectations, where what in my opinion, and it's just me, is that if you say I'm a professional cosplayer, that means that if I'm cosplaying for fun, I'm in a different class than you are, versus making money with something. So I'm not a professional podcaster. I'm just making money with podcasting. I think that's how I view it, and I think it actually has done a lot more damage, that word. And it also leads to the idea that some people view that if you don't make a cosplay, then you're not a cosplayer the same way, which I also think is bullshit.
Yeah,
Where I didn't make my cosplay of Amuro Ray, but I looked like Amuro Ray 8 years ago when I was
right.
significantly younger. So obviously, what is that like? Because you've made cosplays, you've done the body paint stuff, you've done the makeup, and then you've also bought and wore a cosplay. And I don't think you're any less of a cosplayer in any of those stages, but some cosplayers feel you are. And
Right.
so I think it's a real issue in the cosplay community.
I agree. I agree. I also think that the line or the difference between a professional cosplayer and like non-professional cosplayer is bullshit also, because who are who is anybody to say that somebody who picks up their clothes to show their appreciation for a character, like cosplaying a character from their closet, is not a professional cosplayer? Like who would be like, who are you to say that? Like how dare you, you know? So I feel like it would also be bullshit, because at the end of the day, we're all showing appreciation.
it's created a separate class,
Yeah,
and it's created a division, and that division is not helping anybody in any
it's
stretch of
not.
the imagination. Now, I'm not anti-capitalism. I have friends who make a decent amount and make their living almost exclusively from Patreon and going to cons and selling their prints. I got no problem with people making money. I'm a greedy capitalist. Anybody who knows me knows I like money, I buy and sell things, and well, I like to have nice things in life. That doesn't bother me. It's the idea that it's the audacity and I guess the self ego saying I'm a professional cosplayer.
Yeah,
It's different than saying I'm a professional wrestler. And it also bothers me because a lot of these people aren't quote unquote professional. Not to get too political, but if you're a professional wrestler, that means that you're trained and you act a certain way in the ring.
right.
And certain people in cosplay who are quote unquote professional cosplayers are not acting professional, they're just cosplaying.
Yep, yep, yep. I
Like
agree.
I run like a professional podcast, but I'm not a professional podcaster. So I don't think that's a thing.
Right. It's not like it's a title to say. It's not like it's something that you could say like it's a like I said, like it's not like a title. That's why I say like it doesn't make sense. Like it really just doesn't make sense. As for like professional cosplayer, like what would make a professional cosplayer? You don't need training for it. You don't need any certification for it. You don't need a license for it. So, what would make you a professional cosplayer versus a person who does it for as a hobby, but they're doing it professionally? If that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't get it, and I got my own issues with it, and I also think that it's not cosplay anymore with a lot of these people. I
Yeah.
think it's softcore porn in a lot of ways. I really do. What I mean, I at least openly say it. You
Yeah.
know, I can take the flack for it, but I don't think I'm wrong. I mean, and feel free to challenge me, anybody. But it's the idea that that's a lot of this. If you go on Patreon and you go like look at some of this, I mean, they have a risque set for like
Yep.
$20. I mean, let's call it what it is.
Yep.
And again, I like capitalism. I'm a libertarian where I'm like, do whatever you want if you're not hurting me. But at the end of the day, I'm also going to call it what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And given that I'm sponsoring this episode myself, I could say whatever I want. So there you go. So seriously, back to Kickstarter because this is the content you're going to get if you back my Kickstarter, everybody. But that's how I view it. But I digress because I just cost you and me, our careers. So clearly.
Oh no, it's fine. I'm very open with like things like this. I'm very open.
This is episode 7, and we already went downhill by episode 3. And episode 4, 5, and 6 did not help the show at all. And this is continuing where we're going. And I got another 160, possibly 8 episodes to go this year. So it's only going to get worse, guys. It's only
It's
going to get
only
worse.
getting worse.
So we might as well go into some gambling animes here. And you did all 7 of them. And I'm not even going to pretend to pronounce the name of that show because I am bad at this.
I pronounce it as Kakagiri.
I haven't seen that one either. I am so out of the loop. I am the worst ever. I am a military war anime guy, and I just have not seen it. All I know is that it's 7 girls gambling with each other with something in high school, and they're all catty, and there's a lot of other stuff going on, and you did all 7 of them apparently. So, what was the inspiration behind all of this? And there's a bunch of different stuff. And they all have like different hair and somewhat different styles of clothes. And one of them might has a gun. And what was that really like? Getting to sort of, they're all similar too, which is kind of
Mm-hmm.
cool as well. So what was that like? Because you only had to make some modifications.
Yeah. Well, I mean, trust and believe those some modifications was a lot. So I started out with the main character. Well, let me actually go back. So on TikTok, there was a challenge, not really a challenge, but like a trend going on where they had the sound of like all the Kakigiri characters saying like what they say in the show, like let's gamble or um let's get our gambling freak on. It was something like that. Each character had their own pieces of saying. So I saw that on TikTok and I'm like, I have to do this. Like, I have to do this trend because this is fire. So I started out with doing the main character, which was Yumiko Jabami, and that's where I actually got this wig from. So I actually like bought her cosplay, which was it was so simple because all I needed was one item, like one thing, which was the whole school uniform, and then of course like the school uniform, like the card that they had in the show. So everything else I basically like already had, and I had to get one of the other characters like sweater and socks. So of course, like I said I had to do this, and how it was that, like I said, I didn't wear contacts. I still don't really wear contacts like that because I'm not a big contact wearer. So each time that I cosplayed a character, I changed up my hair and my eyeshadow. Basically, the eyeshadow was to match whatever color their eyes were. And then whatever color their eyes were, I would have my wall lights match that also. So just to make it all come together. So I started out with Yumiko, then I went down the line to Mary, then I went down the line to Rui, and then like all the other characters. I forgot their names already. But I went down the line according to which character was next in the transition, of course. So um and then I just uploaded from there. That took me like 2 weeks. It took me about 2 weeks. And then each character that I had, like going into the transition of up and down and throwing cards and like spinning around, that kind of thing, I had to do each one of those transitions about 10 or more times just to make sure it was perfect because I'm very anal about transitions and about them being like super duper flawless. Um, as for like the wigs, so a lot of them had blonde hair. So I only used one wig for the blonde hair. And like I said, you don't want to have to buy a wig each time for a different character. So of course you want to style them up. So some of them had braids. I just braided each side and just wrapped that up. Another one had pony pigtails. So I just took some scrunchies and put the pigtails up with the hair. Um, Another one had their hair down. So of course I used that same blonde wig, just put my hair down and just let it be regular. Of course, people knew who she was because she had on like a different jacket and her eyes were a different color. And then I had like an orange wig and two black wigs. So I had to buy a short black wig for that one, for the girl with the gun. And I already had an orange wig because I did a haiku cosplay before that. So I used the orange wig to kind of mimic brown hair, but it still came together because it's anime. Like, who are we to say anything? It's anime. It still came together. But like I said, that took me 2 weeks. It was super fun, and I want to say that video put me on the map on TikTok. That exact video blew me up on TikTok.
Yeah, I'm not good on TikTok. I have comic book facts, and
Yeah.
for a while. No, it does really well actually. The ones that I've done, people really respond to it. It's like, oh man, you got 90 seconds, and this is a cool comic book fact. It's
Yep.
great, and it's just that I've been slacking in that sector in a lot of ways, and I've been super busy. When you're doing 172 interviews a year, I don't have time for TikTok as much as I would like. Nothing against TikTokers. It's legitly, I'm actually doing research, and then I would like to sleep sometime. I'm just saying, my bed and me, we are not well acquainted as of lately.
Oh.
It's a real problem. But I digress right there. And I much prefer the my circumstance than this show because I do not want to be dead or written in a note anytime soon. And you've done 3 with Death Note also, and I thoroughly enjoyed Death Note as a show, and you've done Misa, L, and then I think you've done Light. And so, what
Mm-hmm.
was this like? Because these were somewhat edited as well, and obviously these are the three main characters for the first half of Death Note.
Yep. So I think who was the one I did first? I think I did Misa first. So I used Misa. I did Misa, and everything that was there I used from either previous cosplays. The wig was from YouTube, like when I used to review wigs from YouTube, and what's it called? And the same wig was from when I did the Kakigiri cosplay, and the corset I already had in my closet, so that was a closet cosplay. I did have to buy the Death Note because, of course, I don't have that in my house just lying around from like years ago.
It's also the idea that if you're going to do a Death Note cosplay, you sort of need it.
Right.
You can't like make that prop. I
Right.
mean, you can make that prop technically, but why would you go make that prop when you legitimately go buy one for $20 or less?
It was like $5. Like,
Exactly. My point is that to make it would be more expensive than to buy it.
absolutely, absolutely. So that cosplay, I didn't have to spend any money except for the actual Death Note. Editing the pictures, super easy. Or I just wanted to put her Shinigami in the back because it makes sense to put that Shinigami in the back so that everybody knew that I was cosplaying Misa. Um, and then going along the lines of doing like Light and L, doing Light was pretty easy. I had that wig, that short wig from when I was doing YouTube also. Um, just so it was a short bowl cut. And then I actually had to buy the tie, which was like $7. And then I already had like a beige pants and a button down. So that was just that, like literally clothes from my closet. As for doing L, I did not have a white sweatshirt, so what I did was I went over by my brother and I asked him for a white shirt. So that white shirt actually came from him, and it was like a perfect match because it was baggy on me because my brother's bigger than me, so it was baggy on me, and it was just like the perfect shirt for it. Um, the jeans I already had in my closet. They weren't skinny jeans, so they went perfectly well with it. And then the wig I already had from doing YouTube. Also, it was just making myself and making my makeup look very like messy with like dark circles around my eyes. And the fork, of course, I had in my house. As for doing the pose for L, the pose, standing on top of the stool without falling or hurting myself was a challenge. And then on top of that, I had to press the timer on the camera to actually go and then sit there for 10 seconds each time so that I got the right pose. So that was probably the most challenging part about doing L.
So to even talk about that, because obviously we sort of missed all of this, but with all of your, a lot of your photos is that you've done a lot of editing and posing, and obviously you're taking the photos yourself. And so, what is that like? And that's something that I think a lot of people don't talk about, where there are two types of, I guess, things with cosplay. There's at cosplay at a convention, and then there's cosplay at home or doing the stuff for Patreon or Instagram and doing the editing and clipping it out. And I'm going to be clipping a piece of this out. I'm very honest about it. That's something that I'm going to be doing a lot more this year for Instagram and TikTok. And so, what is that like? Because COVID forced that to
Yeah.
happen in a lot of ways. It happened before, but COVID forced that to a new level
Yeah.
where and so, what was that like? And also being new and going to digital 2.0 and that pivot, because I'm in that space dramatically and in a lot of ways, and I'm very active on social media, and I'm not going backwards because I see the writing on the wall. It is
Right.
crystal clear to me what the writing on the wall is.
So I mean, even though COVID forced us to be very digital, I'm actually grateful for it because if I wasn't like in the house cosplaying, then I would probably be doing something else with my life. Like I would probably be like outside more, like enjoying the outdoors with friends and stuff like that. But I'm actually glad that COVID basically like shut down a lot of things so that everybody else or like people like me can actually focus on building their career, building their like influencer career, that kind of thing. So it helped out a lot with that. Um, the only thing is like with being digital and like not bringing them to cons is just that some of the pieces that you do have, like I said, it's either not transportable or like you can't wear them like outside because it doesn't fit, that kind of thing, but it only looks good in pictures. And of course, like you don't want to be barefoot as L outside in a con. So
Well,
that's
and
that.
to talk about that, because this is a really interesting, I guess, position. So obviously, I can do a podcast in person. I can do it outside of person. I have always preferred since day one when I started podcasting almost 9 years ago to just do it digitally because, well, I'm speaking to people from all over the world. So for me, COVID didn't affect me, but somebody wanted to do an interview at a con, I can do it. It's a little bit annoying. I got to go buy mics. I got to go spend a lot more equipment, but it can be done. My whole thing is that I guess, but there's also been a new genre of cosplay being born in a lot of ways, which is the Instagram cosplay. And, or the Instagram or the Instacos, a lot of ways is a good way to put it, is that it's cosplays that are specifically designed for the internet. And it's a very interesting, I'm sure there's a better coinage, and I'm sure somebody's come up with a better term for it. Then, because if I'm the first person who came up with that's amazing, and we really need to do better as humans here. I'm sure somebody has a better term for it. So whoever has that, replace it with that term, everybody. But what is this like for you? Because it opens up doors in a lot of ways, and it creates another genre. It creates another variation. Obviously, I created a whole second show because of digitalization 2.0 and COVID out of my original show that creates a variant of what I'm doing and increases my brand in a lot of ways. And so, what is that like for you? And even what do you think about that? Because I'm not a cosplayer. I just, again, am seeing things happening and spotting what's going on. And I find it fascinating.
Yeah. So I feel like the fact that everything like yeah so the fact that everything went digital or like people just being like Instagram cosplayers, I feel like that opening up, like the new variant to say, that opening up of that coming out helps a lot of people who suffer from like social anxiety or something, like who are shy with other people, who don't want to go to cons and stuff like that. Like I feel like that opens up that opportunity for them. I can tell you like a lot of people who started cosplaying during quarantine because it's digital now, it's all just Instagram, and they feel a lot more comfortable with doing it that way instead of actually going outside to cons just to be noticed, just to be seen, just to network. So I feel like yes, it opened up like another opportunity for people, especially for the ones who are shy or who just can't go outside.
Yeah, no, I think it's great personally because I like the fact that you can go and do something and then you don't have to leave your house.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to leave my house. I can get alcohol delivered. I can get comic books delivered. Amazon Prime is there. Anything I want can be coming to my house in legitimately 2 to 3 days now. And
Yep.
so if I can go get all my cosplay fixes, I'm just saying, everybody. And then the last anime I want to talk about, anime cosplay, is your Attack on Titan, and I am Mr. Attack on Titan. I did invent that concept comparing The Walking Dead, Fahrenheit 451, and Attack on Titan. That is my concept. I invented it, and if anybody says they invented it, they have legitimately stolen it from me, no jokes. And if you copy it and have cited it, you owe me a credit. And you can put that under Andrew Mecca Davis, thank you very much. But I did invent that concept. So I am Mr. Attack on Titan, and you've done Mikasa Ackerman, and obviously Attack on Titan's back. So what is the story behind this one? Because this one just went up a few days ago on Instagram. And I know I'm missing a few.
Yep. So Mikasa, this version of Mikasa, I should say, because I did bring Mikasa to Anime NYC where I actually built the ODM gear. So This version of Mikasa I did with the short hair look because I think she looks so fire with it. However, I just hate her character in the anime right now because kind of simpy and wimpy. But anyway, you know. But anyways, I decided to do this cosplay for the sole fact, well, just now, like really re-releasing it for the sole fact that um Attack on Titan was coming back with their final season, and I do love the soundtrack of Attack on Titan. Like I love all, like literally all of the songs from that anime. I was trying to tell my friends before too to like watch it. They were like, "Oh, Attack on Tall People. Why would I watch Attack on Tall People?" But but now that season 4 came out, and then like the final part of season 4 came out, I feel like everybody should watch it just so that, you know, they can see the greatness of it. And then me cosplaying it is just like another reason of why people should watch it. You know, it's a badass character. She's there. She has a different look. I did an afro with her before, and now she has short hair. So it's like, I don't know. It's just like, watch the show. Just watch it. Like, it's a really good show. And then like the cosplay itself, was very hard to put on. Like, so of course it was a button-up shirt. Like I had to buy the cosplay, so I had to buy the jacket, the straps, and yeah, just the jacket and the straps. And then I didn't have any white pants, so I had to buy the white pants. So the wig I already had from YouTube and everything like that. The wig was like $10 anyway, so that's fine. But the jacket and the straps, they go on a whole different way. You have to put it on feet first, then tie it around, wrap it around, put on the back piece, buckle that to your pants and everything. Like that cosplay takes so much time to put on and so much time to put off. Well, to take off. So I would say like that is probably one of my hardest ones to put together, but not to do, if that makes sense. Like it's easy to get the concept, it's easy to get the items for it, but to actually put it on, it you will probably like strain your back.
Yeah, see, there's a reason why I don't cosplay. This is the whole reason why I don't cosplay. I do not want to be, you know, cosplaying Attack on Titan, and I much rather speak about it and sell out rooms at Anime NYC.
Mm-hmm.
Much easier, much nicer, and also I'm standing above everybody, and I feel like a tall person. I'm in the 5'11" position, feel very tall when I
Yeah,
am
see, yup, you're
speaking,
tall.
because the stage adds like 3 feet. So,
Yeah.
but I know I'm missing a bunch of your anime stuff, but I do want to talk about the other side of this, and we're only going to be talking about two segments, which is Disney and Nickelodeon. And so obviously you've done some Disney stuff, and again, I'm missing a few there, but you've done Hella, you know, from basically Thor's sister, and that's a really crazy one that you've done, and obviously that's Marvel, Disney, and so what's the story behind that? Because the headdress and just her entire, I guess, attire and everything that's going on with her, because obviously Marvel is big right now, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on with that cosplay, and even getting to
Yeah.
do superhero stuff is always cool.
Yeah, superhero stuff is cool. So with her cosplay, I bought her jumpsuit. It was so hard to find, but I did buy the jumpsuit. It came small, so I that's something that I needed to take in mind when buying cosplays because I needed to buy a larger size. But I definitely, with that, the easy fix was I just cut it by the thigh part and just used the rest of it, like the bottom to be boots. It was hot that day anyway, so it didn't even matter. I just used the bottom to be boots, and then like her jumpsuit, I kind of made it into like capri shorts. So that was that. As for the helmet, I made that in a week, and I don't know why I did that to myself because that making that in a week felt like how I felt when I was making Bakugo's gauntlet in a month. Like it was just so strenuous, but I got it done. And I can tell you, I was probably taking like probably like 8 hours day and night. Just every time I wake up, I gotta make the costume. Go to work. When I come home from work, I gotta make the costume. Like I was on it before work, after work, all the time, every time. My drill, I had like the Dremel drill that died on me, so I had to go buy another one. And then like even just trying to like shape everything with it, cut it with the X-Acto knife and everything like that took a lot of time. It took a lot of glue. It took a lot of paint, and it was just so much. But the result of it came out so perfect and exactly what I wanted. So I'm not complaining. That's another piece of art that I am super proud of, because as soon as I got into Brooklyn Comic Con, it just got, not even inside. As soon as I was on the block, like walking down from my car to the stadium or the museum, I think it was in. Soon as I got there, it was just like, it was just all eyes was on me, because everybody was so curious about the helmet, and they were so curious about either who I was or how long it took to make the helmet or what the helmet was made out of. People were curious if it was heavy also, because it was like that, it was like tall, like as tall as I am, so it was really big. It was just really, really, really big. And it was just so much. It was so much. So I really loved it. When I got there, it was just so much pictures, and I would definitely like remake it again too.
And then sticking with Disney, and I don't want to push too much on, Thor's sister, because certain things happen with her, for lack
Yeah,
of a
right.
better word. Yeah, I don't want to ruin. I don't know where everybody's at. You know, I don't have Disney Plus. I know what happened, but I don't have Disney Plus.
Right.
I'm broke, guys. I'm broke. So I have other means and I have other things that I need to watch first and foremost. And then continuing with Disney, because I do like this character, Shell from The Road to El Dorado, and there's some sneaky things she does in that movie. I can't even speak. There's some sneaky things she does in that movie. Clearly, if you go watch that and you see what she's doing, so what was that like doing her? Because that's from my childhood. I'm 29, and I remember seeing this movie in a movie theater.
Yep.
So, and I didn't pick up, and then I had another friend, Rikishi, something pretty much Rikishi Hentai pointed that out to me, and I was like, oh, snap. Like,
Right.
she's
So yeah, so the Road to El Dorado was actually part of my childhood too. Like we had it on DVD, and my brother and I used to watch that all the time, probably like every day. But I didn't like realize like what was going on. I was probably like 7 or something. Like I didn't realize what was going on in the movie until I got a little bit older. Then I'm like, oh, okay. But cosplaying her, that was pretty good. That was another one, another closet cosplay using this wig that I have on also. I just recycle everything, recycle and reuse everything. That one, like I just found like a tube top in my room, and like shorts and like a fishnet stocking, and then I just put that on. I know she had on like a skirt, but I had to cut it off at a certain part in the picture to make it look like it was actually like a long skirt, like how she would usually wear in the actual show. I did the goth version because I didn't actually have the original version stuff. So of course, and plus everybody loves the goth version because she looks hot. So it's like, why wouldn't you? But yep. Cosplaying her was pretty cool. It was pretty easy. I did that one actually did get that one got a lot of attention. That one was really nice. Would I do it again? I don't know. I feel like that picture is actually just perfect enough, just like that. I would probably do the original one next.
And then sticking with Disney, because obviously people like Shell, and some people remember, some people don't, and I don't know if that movie's still on Disney Plus. Oh, hopefully it is. But Disney is a very very interesting company at the moment.
Right.
Um, but hey, you know what is the I wouldn't bet against Disney. The House of Mouse. I'm just saying. And all I know is that I may or may not be drawing Winnie the Pooh with pants, no shirt, but with pants. Because that's what we all want. He's been going walking around without pants for far too long.
Far too
It's,
long.
it's finally time somebody took a stand. The shirt's coming off.
Right.
That shirt's gotta go.
Just give him
Just gotta
pants.
go. I mean, but the pants. I mean, that's it's a crime in of itself. Um,
Right. Streaking and everybody, mooning us all.
it's just terrible, and it's open. You can do whatever you want now to Winnie the Pooh.
Right.
It's public domain, guys. You can do whatever you want to Winnie the Pooh now. But having said that, and the pants idea is mine. I'm just letting everybody know that if you feel that I'm going to be so pissed, I'm going to put that on like a comic cover. It's going to be great.
Hmm.
But anyway, and I'm waiting for Disney to sue me because that'll be really funny too. I'll frame the letter. It'll be great. Yeah. They're going to be playing this knowing that they're going to sue me. Oh, it's going to be great. It's going to be like evidence number one in court. It's going to be great.
Right.
But I digress as I reveal everything that's about to happen. And watch this in like 3 years, it's going to happen too. And I'm like, just like DM me and be like, what did I tell you 3 years ago to the day? So,
Right.
yeah, I
Be
know.
like, yep, it was his idea. It was all him. Now give him his money.
And then I'll send you a picture of like the letter from Disney suing me. Ought to be great. But anyway, I digress. There is one more from Disney I do want to talk about, and I just went through an entire last month Kim Possible Christmas photos, and I tweeted out like 30 of them on my Twitter. all Christmas, Kim Possible Christmas. Apparently, there are like 30 Kim Possible Christmas photos.
Wow. Okay.
It's a real thing, guys. It's a real thing. And you know, some of them are not necessarily appropriate, but some of them are absolutely wholesome. Um, but you did Kim Possible too, and I love Kim Possible. That's because I love Will Friedle and Kim Possible,
Hmm.
and he's great. So what was that like doing Kim Possible? Because that's another show that's sort of from my childhood and my generation, sort of at the back end of when I was becoming, I guess, a teenager. That Kim Possible, happened.
Yeah. Yep. So doing Kim Possible, like I've always the backstory in that I've always admired Kim. I don't know why. Like she was a cheerleader and she was a superhero. And it was like growing up as a kid, like those were the two things that I wanted to be. Either a superhero or like somebody like really athletic. So she was both. And then on top of that, she wasn't like a girly girl or anything. Like she was like somewhat there, but not fully like girly. So I really admired her for that. Doing that cosplay, it was I did have to go out and get a couple of items. I did not have I think it was the pants I didn't have. Yeah. So I didn't have the pants. So I did have to go out and get those. I think I went to like a store in the mall and those pants were like $10. And then I already had the wig from doing a cosplay from before. The shirt I already had. That shirt I bought from Zara like a really long time ago. The utility belt I bought that like a really long time ago when I did Todoroki. And the gloves I already had gloves. These gloves I've had for years. So it all came together. Editing that picture, I just had to find like the coolest background for it because I didn't want it to be too plain. And then I also wanted to like copy her pose in a way, but like still kind of make it cool because she's like positioned kind of awkward. So I'm like, that doesn't look good. But I definitely like wanted to cosplay her for a fact. As for doing the kind of like real TikTok video that I did, like I did that out of jokes because I don't know, like I just wanted like I felt like it was needed for that. Like like I just wanted something active to do. And like I was just super bored in the house. Like I just moved everything away from like my living room and just like had that big open space. And I'm like, let me actually try to redo her intro. So I just made it kind of like into like a movie, like a short film kind of thing where I got a call from Wade and he told me that Draken was on the move again and like I gotta go and save the world again. But yep, that's basically how that went. I want to do like Draken or Shigo next sometime in the future. To do a video for those, I don't know, but the idea may come to me.
Yeah, no, and people love Kim Possible. Everybody knows Kim Possible. There was a live action Kim Possible, which is super interesting to watch. That's all I'm going to say on that point. That's all I have to say on Kim Possible. That I can openly say about Kim Possible. And also it helps that now everybody has Disney Plus, and I think everybody's watching all this old stuff and obviously it's a very, very cool piece of intellectual property Disney owns, and obviously it is from definitely the back end of my age group when I was sort of aging out of the Disney stuff. Um, and so just like how you're just fixing it, just live on the air. I love that. You're like, I give zero
Yeah,
fucks
I gotta get
today.
lip gloss on me.
I give zero fucks today. Is what just happened. Like literally. So having said that, I do want to talk about Nickelodeon, and there are only two that I really want to talk about. And we're going to start with Sam Mason from Danny Phantom. And what is the story behind this one? Because everybody knows Danny Phantom, and Danny Phantom definitely has something to do with who you're cosplayed as, which we're going to get to in a second.
Yep. So for Sam Mason, I I did a poll on my Instagram if they wanted to see Sam Mason first or if they wanted to see Sister Chrome. And of course everybody picked Sam Mason because Sam Mason is a goth girl, goth alternative girl. And I was so excited to do her look because I haven't done a goth look other than like kind of Misa, but not like fully like into it. So I was so excited to do Sam Mason, and I wanted to wear like I wanted to do like a different kind of look, like put on like the colored lipstick and stuff like that too. That picture, well, all three of those pictures, I should say. Well, let's start out with the cosplay for one. I had to buy the shirt and I had to buy the skirt. I did not have that skirt in my inventory of clothes. So I did have to buy it. However, that skirt was way too short and I would not advise anybody to buy that skirt. It was way too short. I would never wear it outside, like literally. But the shirt was pretty valid. So that was like a shirt that you can wear. Of course it shows a lot of cleavage, but it's fine. Like you could just pull it up, pull it down, whatever. Like whatever, cleavage is cleavage. Everybody loves boobies, so that was fine. The wig I already bought from since like New Year's, I think. So I was already preparing to do her cosplay. And then like I already had my nails done, and then the rubber band that I used to tie my head, like that was one of the rubber bands that I have in my house that I usually use to like tie up my cereal bags. So so I just used that to like tie up the hair on top. But as for like the cosplay and the edits for that one, the shirt that I have on is actually a plain black shirt. I actually went and dabbled into Photoshop a little bit, and I put the purple circle on my shirt. Um,
What's going on? I think you're back. Hopefully.
I think can
I don't know what's going on. We're all like frozen and not good. Anything can happen live. Anything could happen live.
okay. I'll
There
just
you go. I don't know what
okay.
happened. Could be me, could be you, could be anything.
I don't know. I'll leave this one on this phone. Okay. I just decided to go on my other phone. I think it's because the like it's windy outside and
It could be
the
that. It could be very much that, and it
yeah.
probably is that.
and it's probably like knocking out the Wi-Fi. Let me just take this phone out.
It's definitely one of those nights where it's just like windy and it's like pumping. And it's not fun.
Yeah, but this is still fine. There we go. All right, now we're back. So, what was I saying? So yeah, I took the purple from the actual cartoon and I put it onto my shirt to make it look like, and I edited it a little bit. Like you had to do like a lot of Photoshop stuff. Edited it so that it looked like it was actually the shirt. So that took me some time to do. The actual cosplay didn't take me any time at all. Like to put it together, to get the idea of what I wanted, to buy the clothes, all of that. Like that was just easy peasy. It was the editing part that actually took some time. Putting the Danny Phantom behind me, that was easy also because I usually do that for my pictures, so I already know what to do. But editing it to put the circle on my shirt, I had to go back, watch a YouTube video, come back, try to do it again, and do it on all three pictures in the carousel just so that I can get it to look like it was real.
And then obviously even going further into this and talking about the prequel to Danny Phantom, which is Fairly Odd Parents,
Mm-hmm.
you've done Trixie Pang, and
Mm-hmm.
so that's what we're going to talk about. And so what prompted this? Because obviously the creator, I think, of Fairly Odd Parents created Danny Phantom. The theory is that Timmy, after the end of Fairly Odd Parents, wished him to basically be a ghost hunter, and that's where you get Danny Phantom, and there's a whole working theory with that. And
I
it
did not know that. What? Yo, that's cool. That's like
It,
a
it,
cool
it's great,
speculation.
but what is the story behind Trixie? Because obviously people like Trixie. Timmy's chasing Trixie. We all know somewhat. Timmy winds up getting Trixie at the end. Fast forward a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and what is that entire story of building out this cosplay? Because it is so iconic. Everybody knows who Trixie is, who she is, what she's doing, and all that stuff. And it's a very simple design in a lot of ways.
Yeah, so Trixie is actually a very simple cosplay. You can do this with like just a turtleneck shirt and a white skirt and a purple headband and a wig and call it a day. I decided to go for like a more adult Trixie, so that's why I got like the V-neck shirt and like the skirt and then of course the headband because I wanted to keep the headbands because it's an accessory to go with the cosplay. Um, the story behind this one, I just really wanted to do like a colorful kind of cosplay. Like not really like colorful, but I just didn't want like something else. I just wanted something else that was like not black, like the color black. So that's why I wanted like a brighter color. The purple shirt and like the white skirt was perfect for that. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let me just put those two together and then be Trixie. I did edit my pictures with Trixie as for when Timmy Turner was holding the signed picture of Trixie. I edited myself into that and then put Get Lost Trixie into it so that it makes it look like a little bit more believable for the character and for like the viewers looking at the character. But doing her cosplay, like it wasn't a hassle. Like it's super easy to get on, super easy to find. I bought these like the pieces off of like Amazon, and the headband came in a pack of like I think 10 of like different color headbands so that I can also use these for further cosplays. So of course like if anybody wanted to be Trixie, like it really doesn't take much. Like literally I did not spend probably more than $30 on this whole entire outfit just to bring her together.
And even going further into that, because obviously people really like Fairly Odd Parents, it's always referenced. My generation references it as classic Nickelodeon. And how was it received online? Because it's one of those things that I think is, very much a remembrance from my childhood of watching it. And my mom remembers it, and my parents remember it. And it's just one of those things that, is always sort of just, oh, it's a fond memory of my childhood.
Mm-hmm. So how it was received? I want to say like everybody in like our generation, like they, of course, they were seeing it and they were just like, "Oh, Trixie, I love her." Then there were other people who went in depth about her personality, like her character's personality, saying how they didn't like her personality because they don't know why Timmy liked her. She was just a rich kid from like the Hamptons or whatever. and like she really just didn't have that much of a personality to begin with. So that got me thinking on doing like another cosplay of Trixie, but like a botched kind of one, of like her maybe like getting plastic surgery or something like that, because after all, Timmy did stop liking her, and he wasn't calling her pretty anymore and things like that. So that just like stems into like other ideas of like how I can make this cosplay into something else, you know. But it was received really well. Like it got like a lot of attention, people loved it. And it wasn't like it wasn't, you know, it wasn't like it was like a bad cosplay or anything. Like it came out really good. Like the actual result like was executed really well.
You know, I love your Trixie cosplay, and I'm super stoked that you actually wore it on air, which is awesome. And
Thank you.
obviously, you know, for me, that's right out of my generation, and a bunch of people know it. And you know, I mean, I'm young enough to remember, you know, Fairly Odd Parents, and so that's
Mm-hmm.
super, super excited. And obviously, you know, the whole working theory with Danny Phantom, and then Fairly Odd Parents, and all that stuff. And obviously, I know that I missed a bunch of your other cosplays that you've done. Um, but Hope, I don't interrupt you when you're playing with your friends. Don't interrupt me when I'm playing with mine. That's my dog, Hope. Everybody, she obviously has an opinion about Fairly Odd Parents. Clearly, she has many opinions on
Mm-hmm.
many things as an animal. Now, I don't know how she knows this because she was not alive when Fairly Odd Parents came out, but I digress right there. But as I was stating, you know, obviously I missed a bunch of, you know, your cosplays and didn't mention them, but where do you foresee cosplay going? Because obviously there's been a lot of changes that have happened due to COVID-19 and cons being canceled and a variety of other things. And she clearly wants to be in the conversation still. But where do you foresee, you know, cosplay going with obviously COVID is not being addressed still? And I used to live in New York. I live in Connecticut. I think you live in upstate New York, and obviously New York's been hit very hard. So I'm curious how you see everything where it's going.
Definitely most of it is gonna go digital. Everything is just going to be pictures, videos, reels, IGTVs, all of that, stories, everything. They're gonna have cons. They're definitely gonna have cons. They probably might slow down on that again if COVID gets worse. But definitely I can see cosplaying going digital. Um that would just mean that we would just have to step our game up in like video special effects and like Photoshop, just so that we're able to like stand out more, you know. Um Other than that, you can really turn cosplaying from a hobby to a business just because it's going digital.
Going into that because obviously I'm part of digitalization 2.0, and I've turned, you know, my podcast and it's cash positive right now due to sponsorships and a variety of other methods. Um, where do you think that, you know, obviously cons are going and all that stuff? Because I have an opinion, and you know, obviously in the comic world it is a lot rougher, and I think that a lot of people are evolving, saying I need to have a bigger digital online footprint. And it's not just Instagram, it's getting into TikTok, it's getting into a variety of other things. And also, you know, you need to figure out a way how to monetize everything. And that's what I'm
Mm-hmm.
figuring out. And obviously, I'm laying out a lot of infrastructure. You know, 2020 for me was proving the concept, 2021 was starting infrastructure. This year is finishing infrastructure. And then clearly, you know, I'm going to be moving forward from that point, and I'm making a lot of adjustments per se. So, where do you feel that conventions are going, and even where people have to up their skill level?
um as for conventions, I feel like if conventions do fully go away, then it's gonna hit hard for like the people who are vendors there. um they're definitely gonna have to like push their ads more for like Instagram and TikTok and everything like that. They're probably going to be looking to scout for more influencers and creators to do videos with their products. So I would say if anything, like if people are just trying to like start out, let them start out, because if con shut down, they're gonna want these smaller influencers or even the bigger influencers to come and promote their product,
I
whether
mean,
it be
look at
for.
Hot Topic. I don't know if you know Hot Topic. I'm sorry to interrupt, but
Oh
Hot
yeah, I know
Topic,
about Hot Topic. Yep.
they made a real decision to move downward away from big influencers into smaller
Into
influencers
smaller influencers. Yep.
because it's a higher conversion rate. You know, just to give an
Mhm.
idea and how that's all calculated. If you have 20,000 fans and 2,000 of your fans like your photo, that is 10%.
Yep.
That's a 10% conversion. If you have 4 million fans and 100,000 people like your photo, that is like 4%
Yep.
at best. I mean, it's probably even less. It's probably more like 2% at this point.
Mhm. Mhm.
So actually, we could do the math technically. So I don't really know why. Those numbers are pretty basic to divide. But I think the point is that it is actually less of a conversion rate. And what all these influencers and these companies are realizing is that it's not doesn't pay to have big numbers. I've been getting
Right.
into this discussion with people because I'm doing ad space and with my Kickstarter and guest spot, and people are like, I don't want to advertise with you because you need a big number, and those people are 100% wrong.
Right.
I don't have large numbers yet with my sponsor on my comic stuff. I've returned them a lot of capital based on the ads
Mhm.
because it's targeted specifically. And
Specifically. Yep.
and you look at companies like the Otaku Box, not to blast them, but they have all these top cosplayers, and I don't think they're selling boxes with those people yet. If I throw it up into my group, into my private Facebook group, or my private other groups, or even my shows, I guarantee you that I can sell better than half of those cosplayers can.
Absolutely. The thing is with that, it's because with the smaller influencers, it's more personable. We're more or less able to reach out to everybody, to talk to everybody.
When I recommend a comic book, say I throw up a comic book and I don't do it all that often in my private Facebook group of 312 people, all of a sudden what happens, people say, if Andrew's throwing this up, there must be something there. Because
Yeah,
I
yep.
throw maybe one up every 6 weeks. And so there's a lot of trust in what I endorse and what I throw up. And somebody's like, I just bought an ad and you got me 6 backers and I didn't even pay you yet. And we don't know if we're going to be doing something together. And so it's very interesting when things like that happen. And this is a real shift. And it's very important that I think people need to understand that there's a reason why Hot Topic is going lower. And, you know, it's not impossible for me or you to get a deal with Hot Topic
Right.
2 years ago. I don't think that would have been possible.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. It's actually a smart move for them. I don't see what would be like the problem with doing that. I get it. Like people think that the more followers you have means like the more reach you have. In a sense, yes, but it also depends on your engagement and well mainly just engagement, like the analytics of it cuz you can have 400,000 followers and only 2,000 people are seeing it or liking it. You're really just hitting like less you're hitting like less than 1%, I guess, you know? So it would make sense if somebody who had like 10,000 are getting like 2,000 people or even 5,000 people to actually like view, like their stuff or even comment on their stuff. And then that way, because they're reaching more people, they're reaching more of their people, they're bringing in more attention, bringing in more revenue for that company.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that's a whole big different conversation. And I am slightly qualified at best to have that discussion with everybody.
Yeah.
And I think the 4 people who are watching right now are probably beyond fascinated because this is actually a super fascinating conversation. And I would love to find somebody who's really good at this and understands all this stuff because clearly, you know, I'm learning it myself. And you know, there's 5 people now. All 5 people, I appreciate you in the audience. Absolutely. You know, just saying, no, seriously, those 5 people are watching right now. Absolutely appreciate
Yeah.
you. But this is such a fascinating thing, and what's going on with my Kickstarter. Just FYI, you know, I know my conversion rate at the moment, and it's actually very cool to know that. And it actually gives me a lot of insight into a lot of things. So, but that's neither here nor there. But obviously, we've been talking a lot about a lot of stuff, and I do want to give you a chance for self promotion because, and again, I didn't get to like, I would say at least 40% of your cosplays, at least.
Yeah.
And we've been speaking for almost 2 hours, which means I got a lot of cutting and editing to do for Instagram Reels and TikTok and all that fun stuff. But I have the time code, so it shouldn't be too hard. But I do want to give you a chance for self promotion. So, where can people find you? Follow you on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, website, any Facebook page is a good one, and a variety of other places, as well as openly support you because cosplay is not cheap. It is
Yeah, no.
expensive to do all this. And where can people support you and really check out what you're doing?
Well, if you want to support me, you can follow me on my Instagram, my Facebook, my YouTube, my TikTok. All of those are at the same handle at Stallicorn, Stallicorn. I can't spell. If you ever want to follow me on Twitter, I barely use my Twitter, but it's Stally Sensei. I just recently changed it so that it's easier to find me. Of course, I do have other links too. I do have the Buy Me a Coffee where you can send me $5 for it to go towards a cosplay. That's going to be in my beacons, which is on my Instagram in my bio. I do have my Amazon wish list up. So if you do want to send me anything like a Funko Pop or even like a cosplay or anything like that, feel free. You're more than welcome to send it to me. It's going to come right to my address. So you guys can do that too. Or even if you just want to cash app me, like, or Venmo me, like, that's fine too. Like, it'll be Leanna Alicia, which is super cool, super fine, and like that's all the better. Like, there's the love for that. But yeah, guys, like, just stay tuned because I'm gonna have more reels going up. I'm gonna have more posts going up. Even if you want to give me suggestions on what animes to watch or even like what cosplays I should do, like, you guys can DM me. My DMs are always open and I'm always replying to everybody, that kind of thing. So yeah, if you have any business deals too, you can email me at stallicorn@gmail.com.
Yeah, no, and I've been saying this is that you have to support indie content creators, and what that means is you have to support cosplayers and what they're doing. Most cosplayers, are doing this because they want to do it. They have some deals, but it doesn't pay for everything, and cosplay is expensive. It is complicated to produce content. It is not easy. A lot of people do it on spec and building cosplays on spec, and a lot of people have day jobs, so every dollar helps. And there's a million ways how to support people. And let's say cash is tight. Obviously, following people, checking out their Instagram, actually commenting on their social media. Giving a heart on Instagram goes a long way on a lot of things. So obviously, that's something that I think people really need to understand and do. And as far as me, because I'm going to promote myself here, obviously I got the Kickstarter going on. It is Conversations in Pop Culture on Kickstarter. You can type in Pop Anime Comics. Also, we'll bring you there. We are at $573 on a $750 pledge. We got 18 days left, and you can get a reward anywhere from $6 to $500. I got this sweet metal card, and it will be shiny. And that's DJ Croft, who is slaying dragons right now as a cosplayer. So you could actually go check that out, and if that thing does well, and somebody already bought one, so I'm printing 121 of them. And so this is the time to get it because I will be selling / giving them out. And once those are printed, they are gone. And you never know when somebody's going to become really big and they're going to be super dope. So if you want one of those, you should probably pledge. And it's $12 to pledge for that bad boy. And so I appreciate everybody. And they look awesome. I mean, it's super shiny. It's really cool. And it's a metal card. It's like a metal trading card. It's awesome. So, and it's part of my project, as well as I have a variety of other things. Obviously, Twitter, Pop Anime Comics, Facebook pages, Pop Anime Comics, Pop Anime Comics Lounge. In fact, if you just type in Pop Anime Comics, I will show up, and you can support me everywhere there. And if you just want to send me money, just DM me, or better yet, just give me your charge card, and I'll take what I need. much easier. It'll save you time, me time. I just bought some comic books and I could just put it on there. I didn't get the bill yet. It'll be so much easier.
Facts.
Um, just you know what? I'll solve your problem for you. But in
Right.
all seriousness, though, I do appreciate everybody checking out my Kickstarter. And whether you're a cosplayer who wants to get on, or you just want to support what I'm doing, and you want to see a lot more of this, because I really can't do my Kickstarter without support. And I appreciate everybody doing it. And Kickstarter is you either make it or you don't. So if I don't get the 750 or more, I do not make it. And so that's something to keep in mind as well. Where I absolutely appreciate the support, and don't make me cry by if I don't make it. So there you go. But that's all I got for everybody to do it. It's all up in the links above. And on that note, I'm going to give you the final word.
All right, cool. Well, it was nice being on your show, your podcast. And thank you to everybody who's watching. Don't forget to follow me and like my pictures and comment on them. And if you have any questions, make sure you DM me, okay? Because I respond to everybody. All right. Peace out.
And that's a wrap.